It's time to play on consoles. Grab your controllers tight. Because it's time to play with Muppets.
On my YouTube show tonight.
I love the Muppets. If you followed my channel at all, you should know this already. They're delightful, charming characters that always have a strong core of kindness and love underneath all their silly gags.
And like with everything else in the world that's popular, there are video games.
I've never actually played any of the Muppet games, however. Oddly, some of them seem to be fairly stock platformers, though I'd really love to play Muppet Monster Adventure sometime, when it seems to me that stuff like party games and kart races would be more fitting. But sure enough, there is supposedly a pretty good kart racer out there.
And a PlayStation 2 party game called Muppets Party Cruise. So that's a Muppets party game on the console that I spent by far the most time with when I was younger. I mean, what a lucky break, right? I'm sure this is going to be a ton of fun.
After all, it's made by Cross Media and published by the wonderful TDK Interactive, who were behind classics like... So, according to the story...
And no, I'm not sure why party games insist on having a story either.
The whole game is a flashback started by the Muppets looking through a photo album of a luxury cruise they all went on.
May I interject something?
No, Sam, honey, not right now. Basically, the gang felt they needed a vacation and asked Pepe to order first-class tickets. But unfortunately, he goofed up and bought tickets for first deck.
Pepe, how could this happen?
Do you know, I am not sure I appreciate your tone, Carmine. First class, first day. What is the difference, okay?
Not about to be deterred, Kermit declares...
May I interject something?
No, Sam, I told you, not right now. Kermit declares that they shouldn't let a little setback spoil their fun. And thus, the gang has to work their way up to the higher class decks by playing all sorts of wacky minigames. Somehow.
Honestly, this is a pretty funny little party game setup. I mean, it could very easily have been a plotless game that took you to locations from the show and the movies like the theater stage and Manhattan and so on, but I actually think it's a funny little story idea.
Now, if you're like me, you like to look through the game options first, and here you'll notice something called Maniac Mode.
May I interject something?
Sam, I swear to God, I will turn this game review around if I hear one more peep out of you!
You'll see something called Maniac Mode, and for God's sake, turn this on if you have less than 4 human players. Otherwise, you get...
Molasses Muppets.
Anyway, all our settings are ready, so we're in for the long cruise.
Just gotta input a player name first, and oh my god, this is the worst naming screen! Instead of just giving you a keyboard or a wheel to pick from, you have to letter by letter use the up and down arrows to pick what you want. And it even has this obnoxious ass sound effect. Now this is fine for a short nickname like mine, but if you're playing with a friend who decides to type in something long, you might as well go grab a sandwich, cause bucko, you're gonna be there for a while!
Of course, you're gonna be anyway if you're not paying attention, but we'll get back to that.
And of course, as one last step before we begin the game, you can pick from 6 available characters. Kermit, Miss Piggy, Fozzie, Gonzo, Animal, and Pepe for some reason. Since the characters don't have any stats, this is a 100% cosmetic choice, so you might as well pick who you like or identify with the most. So I'm gonna pick the fat, hairy, unfunny, talentless wannabe comedian that never achieves success and doesn't know when to stop trying. Alright, with our choice of character made, we're off to the board!
Now, regardless of how you feel about it, a party game will always be compared to the Mario Party series, and while there are some surface similarities, this is actually fairly different.
Your goal is to collect party favors of 3 different colors, blue, red, and green, by beating the various minigames hiding behind color-coded doors, with the game ending once a player has grabbed a certain amount of a specific color. So they're basically the stars of this game, but with an extra little twist. You can also find cruise credits all over each board, this game's version of coins, that you can use for various things such as buying yourself a point lead in the minigames you aren't too good at, or being a cheating asshole and spamming the games you are good at to cross the opposition. Your call. And of course, just like Mario Party and its bonus stars, the game tallies each player's achievements at the end of a round and rewards bonus party favors, counting toward your party favor total, which is what wins you the game. So at least at a surface level, there's a bit more strategy to collecting these than there usually is with stars.
And this is where the surface similarities stop. The actual board part of the game is somewhat more chaotic.
Where Mario Party and most other party games set you on a few designated paths with various action points, Muppet Party Cruise gives you free roam of the board. This allows the player to pull some crazy maneuvers to try and use all of their moves in order to grab as many cruise credits as possible and end up at a door of their desired color. And since you get 2 more moves every time you grab cruise credits, you can really end up taking some very long walks around the deck if you play incorrectly. Oh, and you use pinball machines rather than dice to get moves for, some reason. Of course, there are plenty of other things on the board that spice things up a bit. Among other things, there are yellow microgame doors allowing a player to win a few extra credits, plunges that give an extra turn, danger squares that screw up progress somehow unless you have a life preserver, teleport holes that instantly take you to a minigame door of a corresponding color, and hypno discs, which make you take control of another player's turn and are pants-shittingly terrifying.
I want to play a game.
Now, I realize these are a lot of rules to keep track of, but hold on to those puppet buttholes, people! There's more!
On top of all these board hazards, of which more unlock as you progress, you can actually steal credits from another player if you enter their space on the board and win a game of rock, paper, scissors. Or you can run into the other randomly appearing Muppet characters on the board. Like Ralph, who scuttles around collecting credits that he'll give you if you run into him, Sam, who makes you lose a turn by forcing you to stop and listen to one of his rants, and even Bunsen and Beaker, who I have no idea what do, because they spend the entire game of the opposite end of the board and keep walking away from me!
Get back here, you squeaky bastard! And with that, we're finally at the part you've been waiting for, the minigames.
There are 30 minigames in total, with about half of them available from the start, since you had to unlock the rest with your collected party favors after each game. And since you unlock new boards every time you unlock 3 minigames, this game really emphasizes the whole working your way up to the main deck idea.
So let's just take a quick look at all the minigames that I got to play during my playtime.
Now, a lot of these are just fairly standard games with a Muppet coat of paint. Shuffle Chalk is essentially curling, so I'm sure that will make a lot of Danes and Canadians happy. Bunsen's Burners is a punny and crappy version of Space Invaders. Cannon Fodder is a simple aiming game. Chemical Imbalance can fuck off with its nitpicky precision. Looney Unicycles has you grabbing as many balls as you can while Fozzie unleashes his inner Russian circus performer. Rhythm Heaven gives you a split second to hit each note and can go join Chemical Madness in the fuck you pile. Slippery When Wet is all like Natural Disaster is just tank control boats in a sink trying to grab colored buoys. Pigsty Party is literally just counting drunk pigs and is probably arranged by the goddamn count. Speed Bingo should be renamed Drunk Rizzo Bingo.
I-2469!
Taco War is boring as hell, Stinky Cheese is just a maze, Power Boatin' is boats, and there's even a fucking auction, which is literally just buying a party favor. Because just like in real life, the system is rigged to make sure the rich keep getting richer. The time for a Muppet revolt is now!
So yeah, most of them are pretty lame, but in the interest of fairness, there are actually a few of the games that I rather enjoyed, at the very least on an idea level.
Out of Gas, the game with the name that is my polar opposite, is an odd little team racing game where one player pushes the car with rhythmic button presses while the other steers in order to reach the goal. Unfortunately, the instructions on it aren't very clear, so my performance kinda sucked at first.
Yeah, I feel ya, buddy.
Stage fright is probably my favorite due to how dumb it is. You take turns either being on stage dodging tomatoes or being in the audience throwing them, and if you get hit, you switch places. It's simple, it's silly, and frankly, it's hilarious to keep beating Miss Piggy in the snout with tomatoes.
That's what you get for karate chopping my homeboy, swine princess.
Dune Buggies is simple, but actually a ton of fun. It's literally just the players driving around trying to knock balls around to score points. Waka waka, motherfucker! So, you know, Rocket League definitely totally ripped this off for real. Rocket League? More like Fuck It League, am I right?
Good one, right? Up top.
Don't leave me hanging, guys.
Also, I can't steer these things for shit, so in my case, this game leads to a lot of...
Long about now, I bet that boy wishes he had a parachute.
Alright, so I pretty much covered everything, or at least everything that I got to see. Cause, it's time to talk about some of the less stellar parts of the game.
I've already gone over how I think literally buying points and party favors in minigames is kinda bullshit, but you could write that off as the game's unique challenges. What you can't write off, however, is how damn flat the whole thing feels.
It presents itself well enough as a Muppet game. Everybody looks right, they're voiced by actual Muppet performers, and they keep spouting funny little one-liners, but as a party game, this gives you almost nothing to work with.
Let's take a look at the Mario Party series again. See how everything you do feels good? Land on a star? There's a fanfare. Win a minigame? You do a cute little winner pose. Screw someone over? Everybody panics. Meet another character on the board? They have personality. Win the game? You're a superstar! Whether or not you find this endearing or childish personally, you cannot deny that the games take extra steps to make sure everything you do has a fun little reward to it. Muppet Party Cruise does not. Half the games don't have on-screen point trackers to give you an idea of how well you're doing. Every character waddles around on the board with little uniqueness to their walk cycles. Well, except Miss Piggy. And just take a look at the win screen of any random game. Pillar goes up, screen freezes, they get a one-liner, and it's back off to the races. I mean, does this feel good? Is this fun to look at? Does it feel like a victory? Especially if the winner literally bought the last points they needed to take first place? And by God, I wish it ended there, but take a look at what happens when the game ends and starts counting party favors. Fucking nothing. It just lists them, writes the winner, and cuts to a winner cutscene, which, to be fair, I think is pretty decent. But wow, this sure doesn't feel like winning. Again, compare this to pretty much any random Mario Party game. They drag out the tension. They show you the shiny prize you get. They treat it like an award show. They treat you like a winner. Muppet Party Cruise treats you like a formality. A formality it needs to get over with before it forces you to spend those party favors you just earned on more minigames. This kind of brings me to my main problem with the game, because all those things I just mentioned are, essentially at their core, just polish. The game itself, and even some of the worst minigames, can be fun if you're in the right mood and playing with the right friends. But don't think I don't see you out there scratching your chin and going, hey, wait a second. Why is he only showing us 2 boards and a little over half the minigames? Well, the answer is very simple. I couldn't be fucking bothered to unlock the rest! See, when somebody wins a round, all human players use their collected party favors to unlock new minigames. And every time 3 new minigames are unlocked, that unlocks a new board to play. Now in theory, this is a good idea that encourages the players, but may I interject something? It's a party game! The entire core appeal of a party game is being able to slap it in, play a game or 2, and then do something else. But no! Muppet Party Cruise wants you to grind. It wants you to play over and over again to grab those precious party favors to unlock minigames, to then unlock boards before it actually get any fun. Some of these games cost 30 party favors! And since only the human players' tokens count towards this, you better have both 4 controllers, a multi-tab if you're playing the PS2 version like I am, and 3 friends who are stupid enough to play a Muppets party game with you in the first place if you want to get to the fun part in a hurry. And as if that wasn't enough, you have very little control over how long a game takes. Look, I know I'm a broken record at this point, but again, take a look at Mario Party. You get to choose how many turns you want to play. This serves the purpose of giving you a basic idea of how long a game will take. Will it take 20 minutes? An hour? It's up to you. It asks you how much time you're willing to spend on it right up front. But thanks to Muppet Party Cruise's colored party favor system, the game takes however long it takes for someone to win 3 specific minigames. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say 3? I meant 4. And 5. And 6. Because the requirements for winning increase with each board. 3 identical party favors to beat the first board, 4 to beat the second board, and so on. Sounds fair. But hey, did you know you could steal party favors from other players by re-entering doors? Because me and the friend I played with sure didn't, since the game never told us! Actually, let me clarify that. The game doesn't tell you about this mechanic when you start up a new round and it lists all the rules. But it does tell you when somebody takes your party favor after a minigame, with a piece of easily overlooked text on the windscreen with no sound effects and no graphics to show you that it's happening. Now, to be totally fair, we were being idiots and should have figured this out once all the favors had been distributed and there were no winners. But you gotta tell the player these things to avoid such misunderstandings in the first place. If 2 grown-ass men were too stupid to notice this, what about the kids who just want to play a Muppet game? So not only do you have to either grind more party favors every time you get a new board, or stay on the shitty smaller boards if you want to unlock everything, but the game can also basically sabotage your attempts to end the round by stealing some of your party favors and dragging the game out further. As a result of this, the 5 rounds I played, 1 solo and 4 with a friend, lasted anywhere between 10 minutes and an hour and a half. Muppets Party Cruise really wants you to think it's Mario Party when, in reality, it's a delusional RPG. It has all the minigames and board game shenanigans of a party game, and the freaking EXP curve of Dragon Quest, especially if you're playing it on your own. Like I said, there is some fun to be had with the game, but to have the audacity to demand that you grind to have that fun available in a party game, that's just unforgivable. At least, I think it is. It doesn't even offer much when it comes to extra content. You can unlock some Muppetisms, which are these short little previously unreleased Muppet clips, which are pretty cool, I guess. And there is a trailer for the It's a Very Muppet Christmas movie. You know, everyone's favorite Muppet movie. But that's about it. In conclusion, Muppet Party Cruise is an unpolished, ungratifying mess that leaves you no control of when you get to have any fun. Now, maybe my opinion of this game was soured by my own stupidity, but at the end of the day, I can't recommend this to anyone, whether they be party game fans or Muppet fans.
Alright, I gotta know who made this. I gotta know who's responsible for this mess. So, let's just check out the credits.
As I stroll around the deck looking for the buffet, I check out my score up on the display. I need a hypno disc and more cruise credits too. One more party favor will put me into the lead. But the next game is really tough. I'm not too good at too cool, but it may be enough to put me over the edge. My opponent sees 6, so I take a deep breath and give the buttons a click. One door's red and the other's blue. When you play the Muppets Party Cruise, it's all about the games you choose. When you play the Muppets Party Cruise, one door's red and the other's blue. When you play the Muppets Party Cruise, it's all about the games you choose. When you play the Muppets Party Cruise. Okay, just the claps. That's good. I like it.
Oh boy, finally a new video. Sorry it took so long, and thanks so much for sticking around and waiting for it. If you liked what you saw, please remember to press the like button and leave a comment below. Like, are there any other Muppet games that are any good? Are there other Muppet things I should take a look at? Let me know. I always at the very least check out suggestions. As always, I'd like to say a special thanks to my top patrons Warren Miller, Keith McRae, Silvermoon Ravenwolf, Paltheas, as well as everyone else who supports me on Patreon. You guys are awesome. And if you're thinking you'd like to support me as well, you can do so by donating a small monthly fee on Patreon that allows you access to my in-progress feed and even early looks at my other projects, such as comics I'm working on. The link is in the description. And of course, if you're new, don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notification bell in order to be informed of more reviews, top 10s, speed paints, and other fun stuff in the future. Bye for now, and see you next time on the YouTube show! Yay! I can't do a Kermit voice.